Hello students, how are you doing? Hope you all are great. So today we are going to start a new topic, that is Newton's second law. So before going to see this topic, let me recall the previous topic. In previous class, we studied about Newton's first law. So what is Newton's first law? Newton's first law states that every object continue to be in the state of rest or of uniform motion, or we can say constant velocity, unless there is an external force acting upon it. So without an external force, an object either continues to be in motion, uniform motion, or at rest position. Okay, that external force change its state of motion or its state of rest. Right, that is Newton's first law. So today we are going to study about Newton's second law. Newton's second law states that the rate of the force acting on an object is equal to the rate of change of momentum. So we can write Newton's second law as F, that is force acting on object, is equal to rate of change of momentum. So momentum denoted as P. Okay. So here we have one question. What is mean by momentum? I will explain you about momentum with a simple example. So consider a situation. We have to break a glass. For that, we have two objects. First one is a rock. Next one is a marble. With these two objects, we have to break a glass. Okay. So initially, I lift the rock and hit it with the glass. And then I lift the marble and hit it with this glass. So in which of these two objects have the capability to break the glass? Exactly rock. Why? Because rock have more mass when compared with the marble. So rock have more mass. So rock can easily break the glass, right? So in the same situation, we have the same objects. Now I throw this marble with high speed towards the glass. Do you think this marble can break the glass? Definitely yes. Why? Because I throw this marble with high speed. So here the speed is the factor which helps the marble to break the glass, right? So there are totally two factors on which momentum depends. First one is mass, next one is velocity. So we can say momentum is nothing but product of mass and velocity. Okay. So if your body has more mass and if your body has more velocity, so combines together, the body has more momentum, right? So momentum, we can say measurement of force or measurement of motion of an object. That is momentum. We see lot of sports, the momentum plays an important role. For example, javelin throw. So in javelin throw, what will happen? The athletes run fast from very long distance. Why he cover that more distance? Because when he run long distance, he gain more velocity, right? He gain more velocity. So at particular time, he throw the javelin to higher distance, to longer distance. Similarly, if you take any sports like long jump, high jump, or if you take bowling in cricket, the bowler runs from long distance. Why? When he run from a long distance, he gain more velocity. So this more velocity, he used this velocity to convert it into momentum. So he have more momentum and he can bowl the ball very fastly. Okay. So here momentum depends on two factors. First one is mass, next one is velocity. If your body have more mass, it have more momentum. When a body have more velocity, it have more momentum. Clear? Now you can understand what is meant by momentum. So we can write this equation as F equal to d mv divided by dt. Okay, so we can take m outside. F equal to m dv by dt. So what is this dv by dt? Change in velocity with respect to time. So change in velocity with respect to time is nothing but acceleration, right? So our Newton's second law is F equal to ma. Clear? Here acceleration is a vector quantity, which means acceleration have both magnitude as well as direction. Force is obviously vector quantity. So in which direction we give force, that direction the object gain acceleration. For example, I move an object in this direction, so the acceleration will be in this direction and force also in this direction. Okay, so force and acceleration have same direction. So Newton's second law, the force acting on an object is equal to rate of change of its momentum. So from F equal to dp by dt, we solve this equation F equal to mv. We can explain this Newton's second law from this equation in another way. Consider a situation where we have two objects, that means two masses. Okay, so this is our object 1 and this is our object 2, which has equal magnitude of mass. Now I give two different kinds of forces. The force which is acting on object 1 is 10 Newton. The force which is acting on object 2 is 50 Newton, for example. In which of these two cases, in which object we tends to move faster, 10 Newton force or 50 Newton force? Exactly, the object 2 which experience 50 Newton force will tends to move faster. Why? Because it experiences greater force than object 1, right? So we can say the movement is nothing but acceleration. So when we give greater force to an object, it tends to have greater acceleration, right? So here acceleration depends on two factors. First one is force. So what is the relation between acceleration and force? We can say acceleration directly proportional to force, right? If we give more acceleration to an object, it tends to have, if we give more force to an object, it tends to have more acceleration, right? So we can say acceleration directly proportional to force acting on the object. Clear? So what is the other fact on which acceleration depends? So consider the situation. We have two different masses. For example, mass of object 1 is 5 kilogram. Mass of object 2 is 10 kilogram. Okay. Now I give same magnitude of force. For example, for object 1 as well as 2, I gave 10 Newton of force. So which of these two objects will tends to have more acceleration? Think about it. I have applied equal magnitude of force for two different masses. I have 5 kilogram of mass and 10 kilogram of mass. Okay. So I push the 5 kilogram of mass with 10 Newton. Similarly, I push the 10 kilogram of mass with 10 Newton. So which of these two objects will experience greater acceleration? Exactly, the lower one. The object which has low mass tends to have more acceleration because it have very less mass when compared with the object 2. So it will move fastly when we give equal amount of force, right? So we can say acceleration inversely proportional to mass, right? When the mass is low, acceleration will be more. Clear? When the mass is high of an object, then the acceleration to that object will be less if we applied equal magnitude of force. So we can say acceleration is inversely proportional to mass. So mass is low, acceleration will be more. By combining these two equations, I can say acceleration directly proportional to force acting on an object and inversely proportional to mass of an object. From this equation, I can also say F equal to ma. Okay, you just have to clear the concept how F equal to ma came. Clear? So by Newton's second law, the force acting on an object is equal to the rate of change of its momentum. Momentum means nothing but mass into acceleration. Rate of change of momentum is nothing but mass into acceleration. So force is equal to product of mass and acceleration. Clear? So from this equation F equal to ma, we can say when there is an acceleration of a body, then there is force must be acting on that body. So without force, there is no acceleration on the body. In order to bring acceleration of a body, we should apply some force on it. Or we can say it in another way, if there is change in velocity of an object, then there must be force acting on it, because changing velocity is nothing but acceleration. Okay, so if a body is moving, or consider if a ball is moving horizontally with a speed of 20 meter per second, for example 20 meter per second. So how to bring acceleration to this body? I have to apply one force. That force must be an unbalanced force. That force must be an unbalanced force. So what is the difference between balanced force and unbalanced force? Or what is meant by balanced force? Or what happened to an object if we apply balanced force? For example, here my object is moving 20 meter per second. In opposite direction, I applied one balanced force. In this condition, do we get any acceleration of this object? So listen carefully. In opposite direction, I stop the ball with some balanced force. For example, this ball is moving by the force of 10 Newton. In opposite direction, I also apply 10 Newton. Then what will happen to this ball? The ball will stop, right? The ball will stop. So what is the net force acting on it? Net force will be 0. So if the force is 0 or the ball is stopped, then it have no velocity, right? If the ball is stopped, it have no velocity because it have no displacement. If there is no displacement, then there is no velocity. Yes, velocity means change in displacement. If there is no velocity, then there is no acceleration. Acceleration means change in velocity with respect to time. Okay. So if balanced force acting on the body, we cannot be able to get acceleration. Then what is meant by acceleration? To bring acceleration in a body, I have to apply unbalanced force. So now what is meant by unbalanced force? Consider the same situation. The ball is moving 20 meter per second. In the opposite direction, I applied 8 Newton. Now what will happen? The speed of the ball will reduce. For example, it reduced to 10 meter per second. Right? It reduced to 10 meter per second. Now there is change in speed. Initial speed will be 20 meter per second. Final speed 10 meter per second. So this change in velocity is nothing but acceleration, right? A change in velocity with respect to time is acceleration. Okay, so now we can say the ball is accelerated. Either the speed of the ball is reduced or increased, we say it as acceleration, because acceleration means change in velocity. The change can be in either way. Either the speed of the ball is reduced or the speed of the ball is increased. Okay, for example, instead of 10 Newton force, I apply 20 Newton force. Okay. Now what will happen to this 20 Newton force? The ball will start to move in this direction. Clear? Because as I said already, where is the direction of force? There must be an acceleration. So if I give 20 Newton force towards this direction, the ball will move in this direction. Now acceleration is in opposite direction. So the ball will start to move in opposite direction. That is also acceleration. Because the speed of the ball change. The speed of the ball change. Because I give greater force. So the ball tends to have greater acceleration. For example, 40 meters per second or 30 meters per second, something like that. So initial speed is 20 meters per second. Okay. Final speed 40 meters per second. So there must be change in velocity. Change in velocity is nothing but acceleration. So to bring acceleration in a body, we should apply an unbalanced force. An unbalanced force. So kindly keep it in your mind. Okay. So direction of acceleration must be in the direction of force. Clear? So force is a vector quantity. Acceleration also vector quantity. So what is the unit of force? Unit of force, Newton. Okay. So how to define Newton? Define 1 Newton. What is meant by 1 Newton? Simple. Substitute 1 for this equation. We get answer of 1 Newton. So 1 Newton means substitute 1 here and substitute 1 here, 1 here. So 1 kilogram of mass tends to move with 1 meter per second square of acceleration. Right? So for M, I substitute 1 kilogram. For A, I substitute 1 meter per second square. Okay. So we can define acceleration as, we can define 1 Newton is the force which acts on 1 kilogram of mass to give an acceleration 1 meter per second square in the direction of force. So substitute all this value in the equation. We have F equal to ma. What is the value of m? Value of m is 1 kilogram. What is the value of acceleration? Acceleration is 1. Then what is force? Force will be 1 Newton. Okay. So acceleration in the direction of force. So acceleration always lies in the direction of force. Clear? So this is all about Newton's second law. So Newton's second law gives the correct explanation to the experiment which Aristotle did. So we already discussed about the Aristotle fallacy, right? So Aristotle said force causes motion. To prove that, Galileo did one experiment, right? So from this experiment and from this Newton's second law, so both tends to say one common message. What is that? If there is an unbalanced force acting in opposite direction, then there must be acceleration. But what Aristotle said, he said the sliding object, the object which is sliding, which you already saw in first class, okay, in the experiment. So the object slide and it tends to have less amount of distance, it tends to cover less amount of distance because there is no force acting on it. He said no force acting on the object. So if there is no force, then there is no motion. So this is said by Aristotle. But what Newton's and Galileo approach, there is a force acting in the opposite direction of motion of object. That force is known as friction force. So which is correct? Obviously this is correct, because when an object starts to move in opposite direction, there must be friction force. So because of this friction force, the object cannot rise more or cannot cover more distance or tends to come to rest position. Why? Because of friction force. That is the correct explanation. We cannot say no force acting on the object, that's why the object comes to rest position. This is not correct. There must be force acting on the object, but the force is in opposite direction to the motion of the object. That's why the object comes to rest position. Okay, so this is proved by Galileo's experiment as well as Newton's second law. Okay, if there is an unbalanced force acting in the opposite direction of the motion of object, then there must be acceleration. So we can say rate of change of momentum. Okay, so force is nothing but which is equal to rate of change of momentum. Clear? So what Aristotle said, when an object is moving, okay, the force acting on the object, or we can say net force acting on the object, is nothing but external force. So only external force which we give or we push the ball to move, that is external force. So only external force acting on the object. This is said by Aristotle. But what Galileo's and Newton's approach, they said when an object starts to move in the opposite direction, same amount of force is acting. So here F net is, we can say this force is F1, this force is F2, but in opposite direction. So F1 minus F2, both are in same magnitude. So the net force will be 0. The net force will be 0. So the object will start to move with constant velocity. Okay, the object starts to move with constant velocity. But what is the force acting on it? Our net force acting on it will be 0. Okay, so we push the object with 10 Newton in the opposite direction. There must be 10 Newton of force acting on it and decelerate the motion of the ball. So after a certain time, the ball comes to rest position because of this frictional force. Clear? So the next topic is Newton's third law. Newton's third law states that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Or we can say for every force there is an equal and opposite force. So we can write it in an equation. F12 will be equal to F21, which means force acting on body 1 with respect to will be equal to force acting on body 2 with respect to 1, but it is in opposite direction. So here force is vector quantity. Okay, for example, we throw a ball on the wall. So this is ball. We throw one ball, okay, in this direction. So the ball will hit the ball with a force of 10 Newton, and the ball repel this ball or push this ball in opposite direction with same amount of force. So now the ball will move in this direction. Okay, so we throw the ball with 10 Newton of force, and the ball once hit the ball, again it comes back with a force of 10 Newton. Okay, so this is in negative x direction and this direction is positive. Okay, so we can say force acting on object 1 with respect to 2, force acting on object 1 with respect to 2 must be equal to force acting on object 2 with respect to 1. Okay, so what is the force acting on object 1? 10 Newton. Why force is acting on object 1? Because it hits the ball. Okay, so now this ball experience a force of 10 Newton. So because of it hitting the ball will experience the same amount of force because of this ball. Okay, or we can say we have one nail. Okay, we have one nail. Okay, so instead of hitting this nail with a hammer, we hit this nail with our hand. Now what will happen? We hit this nail with our hand. What will happen? Some force acting on the nail, okay, so it will go little bit inside the hole, okay, little bit inside the hole. Similarly, some force acting on our hand, if we look our hand, we can able to say the impression which is made by the head of the nail, right? So some force acting on the nail, because of that the nail goes little bit down, okay, and some force acting on our hand because of this nail, because of that we have the expression of the impression of the head of the nail in our hand, or we can sense the pain which caused by the head of the nail, right? So we can say force acting on the nail due to our hand will be equal to force acting on our hand due to nail, okay. So here, because of this force, nail goes little bit down, and because of this force our hand gets pain, okay. So here force is acting on the nail in negative y direction, and the force is acting on our hand due to the nail is in positive y direction. The magnitude of force will be equal. So we can say Newton's third law as for every force there is an equal and opposite force. Clear? Here we can say any one of the force is action force and another force is reaction force. Okay, we can say this force as action force, another one is reaction force. Here the action force as well as reaction force both lies on the line which joining the two objects. So here this is our action force, this is our reaction force. Both are lies on the line which joining these two objects, which means the wall as well as ball. Here the direction of action force, the direction of reaction force. So here both lies in the same object, same line. Here we have our hand, here we have the nail. So the line joining the two objects, the force must be acting on the line which joining the two objects. Okay, it cannot apply like this. So here our force acting, here reaction force acting. It cannot happen like this. Okay, if this happened, then the object tends to rotate, or we can say the action force must not be equal to reaction force when this condition happen. Okay, both are acting in different lines, both are acting in different lines, then there is no equal between action force and reaction force. So action force as well as reaction force must be act on the line joining the two objects. Okay, so we have lot of example in our day-to-day life for this Newton's third law. For example, we walking on the floor on the road. So what will happen? Our front foot gives certain force on the road or floor. Our back foot experience the same amount of force. Okay, so that's why we can walk front. So our front foot push the road downwards. The road exerts same amount of force to our back foot in upwards. So we move forward. Or we can say in rocket propulsion, we use the Newton's third law. Okay, so some force acting downwards, okay, through the smog, that fuel which we see while the rocket launch, and some force acting upwards, that means the rocket goes upwards. We can say in gun what will happen? We shoot the gun, the bullets goes forward. Then what happened to the gun? The gun comes backward little bit because of this action reaction force. So in bullet some force is acting in forward direction, the same amount of force acting on the gun in opposite direction, right? So we can say lot of examples which based on Newton's third law. Okay, so this is all about today's class. I hope you all enjoyed today's class. I hope you all understood today's class. Okay, so far we studied about Newton's laws. first law, second law, and third law. So we completed. In our upcoming classes, we will discuss about discussions on Newton's law. Here, what are the discussions we can make from these Newton's 3 laws? Okay. So thanks for watching, students. Make clear notes. Okay. Study regularly. Then you can understand. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask me. Thanks for watching. Thank you.